Have you ever wondered what separates a great Sydney Marathon experience from a tough day out on the course? Are you training for Sydney and looking for those small tips that could make the big difference on race day? What if avoiding just a few common mistakes could help you run smarter, stronger, and even enjoy every kilometre? Hi, I'm Lucia and welcome to episode 162 of the Flying RuNR podcast. With the Sydney Marathon now part of the Abbott World Marathon Majors, more runners than ever are setting their sights on one of Australia's biggest and most iconic races. Whether you're chasing a PB or aiming to finish your first marathon or simply looking to soak up the awesome atmosphere that is Sydney, and Sydney comes down to more than just the training you've done. It's race week, it's the preparation, the pacing, nutrition, mindset, and understanding the course can all play a major role in how your day unfolds. Tonight, we're counting down our top 10 tips for Sydney. We'll share practical advice to help you avoid the common pitfalls, manage the unique challenges of the course, and make the most of the entire marathon experience. From navigating race morning logistics, fueling strategies, and to tackling the hills and the excitement of race day, we've got you covered. We've all run Sydney before and we know exactly what to expect over the race weekend. From the expo to the finish line and everything in between, we've got you covered. As you know, we love running and sharing our adventures of running around the world. We are the only podcast with 5 7-star world major marathoners. And this is the Flying RuNR podcast. Are you ready to run? Let's go. Welcome back. Tonight I'm joined by the regular co-hosts Tony, Peter, Tara and Tim. Guys, how's everyone's... Well, I don't want to say race prep because Peter and I were the only ones doing Sydney, but I'll start off with Team Ellis. How's your training been?
Tim?
You go, Tara. You want me to go? Okay. I'll kick it off then. Our training's been pretty good. We did our last long run before we started our taper on Sunday, just been a 25k run, but we got 19 k's into the run and we came across a running festival that was on our running track that we always run in, and they just kick-started the 5k race just as we were coming through, so we were able to join in because they're running on a public path, not a closed road. So we were able to do part of that course with them. So for the 2.5 kilometres, we ran with those guys. And then they also had a 21k race going. So once we got to the 5k turnaround, we kept going and we're picking off all the half marathon runners. So it was really quite fun, wasn't it, in the end, Tara? We picked up a lot of pace over our last 6Ks and it just cruised along. But I think, as I said to Tara, it sort of gives us that real feel that it was more like a 27 or a 28k run because of the extra speed at the end that we were doing and just having a lot of fun with it. Our park run this week was run at Chermside, just our local park run. Both of us have had our massages this week, haven't we, Tara? And we're fit and ready to jump on an aeroplane later this week to head over to Europe for our next marathon adventure.
And Tim, just for our listeners, do you want to give our listeners, an overview of what the trip is?
No.
Where are you going to? Oh, come on.
Yeah, no, I can. We're running, which you've probably heard if you've listened to previous episodes, we're running the Marathon de Medoc on the 5th of September in Medoc, which is Bordeaux, in the Bordeaux region of France. So this is a wine marathon. There's 26 refreshment stations on the course, which aligns with the chateaus that you run through. Each of those has wine. There's also beef, oysters, ice cream, cheese served on course, escargot as well, I believe. And it has a theme. So this year's theme is It's the 80s. So we have to dress up as an 80s theme, and we're leaving that one as a bit of a surprise for those in the public domain. A lot of our friends know what we've got and have seen the images, but it's 80s theme, and we're looking to have a ball, aren't we, Tara?
We are. It'll be a lot of fun, and Tim will no doubt put up the video on the Team Ellis page, as he always does after it's done. So if you want to see the outfits, you'll have to wait till then.
Yeah, and then in before that, there's a whole heap of touring around Europe. So there'll be a lot of run updates from different cities in Europe. There's a couple of park runs that we'll do as well. So yeah, a bit of fun.
Excellent. And Tony, how's your week been? How's the knee coming along?
Yeah, nothing changes. So went walking again on the weekend. But, you know, I was thinking about this Marathon Medoc thing that the Team Ellis are doing and how they've been just so regimented in their training, and they still have treated it just like a normal marathon. And, you know, when I think about Marathon Medoc, I think about wine and the culinary experience as opposed to necessarily training for a 42K run. So I'm interested, Tim and Tara, in the mindset that you've had, because at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of fun, but you've also got to get through 42.2 kilometres, right? And most of the, let's call it the average population, have no concept of what that would feel like. So, you know, and I know that there's 6:30 and Tim's aiming to get in there at 6:29. It's still a big ask to do Marathon Medoc, 42.2, sipping on some wine and eating lots of food. So to me, I cannot understand how you prepared for this. Like, do you do like your long run on a Sunday and then go sit in a wine bar for a couple of hours to get things, you know? So what's been the experience like training for this, Tim?
We first off, we are respecting the distance. So we have kept the distance up after doing Gold Coast. We probably haven't gone as deep into our training runs as we normally would, only because it's a short distance between Gold Coast and Medoc. But we have been maxing out at 25 Ks in our long runs. And as I said, we have been pushing a little bit harder at times as well. We had a hard Sunshine Coast half marathon a couple of weeks ago. So the legs are strong. But firstly, you're right, it is about respecting the distance, and you do have to run the 42.2 kilometres. The training is different. We haven't been doing the wine drinking. We haven't done the testing. We do drink the wine, and we do drink a lot of red wine in our house. But it's going to be a whole different experience running with red wine in your stomach. And, you know, do we sip and spit? Do we sip and swallow? Do we gulp the whole glass full down? I guess we'll just suck it and see on the day. The good thing is the first 21 Ks, there's 7 refreshment stations. So we are sort of using the philosophy of we'll go through, go and explore and have fun and follow the crowds, and we will stop at each station. Whether we drink the wine at every station or not, we'll just wait and see. But if we can get to 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours at the halfway point, we know we can then just walk and sip wine and eat the food for the last 4 hours, and we'll still make the cutoff. So, yeah, there's a bit of an approach to that. Probably the back half of the race will be mainly walking and talking and drinking. The front half of the race will be just setting ourselves up so that we can finish it. But I don't know, Tara, you got anything else to add?
No, I actually, my stomach, as everyone knows, does not handle running at the best of times and putting gel in there. So this is going to be an interesting one for me. But I have stocked up on GastroStop, and I have also stocked up on a product called Maxilon, which is a prescription-only medication that my doctor is nice enough to have given me, that stops you feeling nauseous and sick. So there might be a fair bit of that consumed along the course to make sure that I can get to the end, just to make sure my stomach handles it. But we'll wait and see. I've got no expectations. I just want to finish. But yeah, it is still a tight cutoff. I've got 6.5 hours to do it in. So, you know, what, Sydney, 7 hours, I think it is. You know, there is still a pretty tight cutoff there at 6.5 hours if things go pear-shaped. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I did joke about putting wine in my hydration pack though, but I never did it.
But there's apparently a bigger party on the booze bus at the end that picks up all the stragglers.
Oh, okay.
And apparently it's a bigger party on there. But the problem is when you're on the bus, you then don't become an official finisher. And if you become an official finisher, it's unlimited wine at the end, apparently, in the party zone. And given that our bus doesn't pick us up till 5:30 that evening to take us back to Bordeaux, there'll be a lot more drinking afterwards, especially with some of the people who are travelling fit that we know that will be there. So It is going to be good. I guess the other thing to think about, which we have been thinking about, is how do you fuel? Gels and red wine don't typically go well. Shot blocks and red wine don't typically go well. So for us, it might be a combination of early on maybe some gels or shot blocks, and then later on it might be Cliff Bars or something which are a little bit more food orientated that can sit in your stomach a little bit better than a gel or a shot block. So don't know.
Tim, you say that gels and shot blocks don't mix. Gels and wine don't mix. That is very true. But I don't think oysters, wine, and running mix very well either. So I don't think what we put into our stomach is all going to be jiggled up and it's going to be really bad. So
I don't think you're going to have too much choice. It almost makes a mockery of that thing, nothing new on race day, right? So because you guys are going to be having a lot of new on race day, and I can't wait here for the review. But as for me, just 2 walks during the week, and I've just got some new exercises that I've got to get consistent with. And we had a leadership conference there last week. I had 3 days away. One of the days we did a hike through the Lamington National Park up at O'Reilly's Rainforest Resort thingamajig. And that was quite challenging because there was a lot of balancing on my dodgy knee, a little bit of slipperiness. So, I didn't come out of that incredibly well, but got out on Saturday for a 5K and Sunday for a 3K. And it's now just being patient and being good and disciplined. So that was my week, Luch.
Excellent. Peter, yours?
Well, it's race week for me. I've got a double bunger coming up. So this Sunday I've got Barossa Marathon. So different wine region. No wine till afterwards, people. I honestly don't know how I'll do. I really don't know what my fitness is like at the moment. So we'll see. And then next week we've got Sydney, of course, where I'll be pacing the 6-hour 45 group. So if any of our listeners are there in that last wave, please come along and say hello. I'm the one with the red hair, and I'd love to see you.
Excellent. So I had probably not the best long run on Saturday because I was in Melbourne for an event on Friday night. So I met up with a friend for a run Saturday morning, but I probably didn't plan it well because I was at a charity event. So I think between the pre-drinks and the actual dinner, I probably had maybe a bottle and a half of champagne, 4 hours sleep. I may have had to take a Panadol when I woke up. So I was ever so slightly hungover. So 16 Ks turned into 8.5, but I love running in Melbourne, running down the river in the city. Great. So body's actually feeling good. So very excited for Sydney. Alrighty, guys. It's that time of the week where we talk trivia. So, Tara, what's your first clue for this week? But first of all, does Tim know the answer?
No, he doesn't. He really doesn't.
Okay, good. Okay,
he really does not know. He thinks he might know, but he really doesn't. So, yes. This place is visited by more than 10 million people annually, with over 350,000 guided tours that take place.
By 10 million
Could be
people
anywhere.
annually.
Is it French by any chance?
It's not French.
Okay.
I was going to ask a question. Is it one of the major marathon cities?
You wait till the next clue. That might say something in there.
Mental note, don't play poker with Tara because she's got a very good poker face.
I can read it.
Awesome. Awesome, Tara. Let's go to the news. Tim, what's been happening around the world this week?
Alrighty, the first bit of news is I must be on a bit of an ultra trail marathon thing at the moment because the news this last week was all about ultra trail running and today's about ultra trail running. So the UTMB, the UT Ultra Trail Mount Blanc World Series finals are shaping up as one of the strongest fields in the event's history, with Chamonix set to host the sport's biggest stars this weekend. The UTMB race covers approximately 175 kilometres from Mont Blanc, traversing through France, Italy, and Switzerland. It is like the what do you call it? The major awards, the Super Bowl if you're a football player, the AFL Grand Final if you're a football player. It is the grand final essentially for trail runners from around the world. Kilian Jornet returns to the UTMB for the first time since his 2022 victory, and he'll be chasing his 5th UTMB title. He remains one of the most successful athletes in the race's history. And the women's race features a blockbuster return from Courtney Dauwalter, who will be returning, and she'll be up against Rachel Entrekin and defending champion Ruth Croft. So Courtney Dauwalter is seeking her 4th UTMB crown, and Croft is aiming to defend her title from last year. This is big news for UTMB to have the likes of Dauwalter and Kilian Jornet attend. They are big names, and they're going to have even bigger names there as well. So it will be another one to keep an eye out on the socials. It'll be all over socials. UTMB always is a big event. And I think, guys, this one will be one of the big race editions, and probably shaping up as one where we'll get a quick time, depending on weather conditions over there. So that's the first news. Any comments on UTMB? Anyone want to do that one day?
No.
Might be a bit far.
I would.
Yeah, only because of the scenery, right?
And because it's a good challenge.
All right, the second bit of news, because I know we're in a bit of a rush tonight because we've got lots to talk about, is the Under-20 World Athletics Championships have just been run and done in Oregon in the United States. And I don't know about you guys, but it was actually good to see it on Channel 7 here in Australia. It was actually broadcast live on their secondary TV stations. So it was really great to see the young athletes of the world taking shape. A massive 1,659 athletes competed from 137 countries across the 5 days in Oregon. And they produced medals for 42 nations, with 24 countries winning gold medals. 6 World Under-20 world records were broken, highlighting the extraordinary standard of competition. And among them was Australian race walker Isaac Beecroft, who set a new World Under-20 record of 18 minutes, 40 seconds and 37 hundredths of a second in the men's 5,000 metre race walk. So that's a park run in 18 minutes and 40 seconds walking as an under-20-year-old. Phenomenal, right? We also featured as Australia in the record books, helping set a new world under-20 record in the inaugural mixed 4x100 metre relay. So that's 2 men and 2 women competing. They ran a time of 41.64 and set a world record in that discipline as well. The championships generated an incredible 111 national records, 17 area under-20 records, and 601 personal bests. And it showcases the depth of emerging global talent coming through the athletics ranks. And a total of 11 championship records also fell during the 5 days. So, guys, with 6 world junior records and more than 100 national records broken, and Australia producing one of the standout performances of the championships, things are looking good for us all as we head towards Brisbane Olympics in 2032. Any thoughts on that?
Can we stay at your place when the Olympics are on?
Yes, if we're still in the same location. Or
Awesome.
Tony's.
Oh, yeah, true. We've got 2 options, Luch. Let's share the love.
Yes,
But no,
it's
that is very exciting, Tim. Yeah.
Yeah, some good times there. And it's actually good to see locally here in Australia. Channel 7 has picked up the ball a little bit in recent times, broadcasting both local track meets here in Australia and also some of the international stuff as well. So got to commend Channel 7 for that.
Yeah, and I heard today that Sydney Marathon's on SBS this year, so that'll be something good to watch. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's the news this week.
Excellent. Thank you, Tim. Now, next of all, we go on to our main topic tonight. It's time for Tara's next clue in Tara's trivia. Tara, what's your next clue?
Thanks, Luch. Just before I head into my trivia, I just want to give a massive shout out to Nicole Dukes, who some of you may remember was who was my running coach and was on a couple of episodes ago, or quite a few episodes ago. She just completed a backyard ultra, speaking of ultras, and she did what's called the Clint Eastwood here in Brisbane, and she did 20 laps. So 20 laps at 6.7 kilometres per lap. That's 20 hours of non-stop running that she completed. Super proud of her. So I just want to give a big shout out to her before I go any further. And the other thing is the trivia. So the next clue is this icon is found at a major marathon and has been around since the 1970s. However, planning for it began in the late 1940s.
Ooh.
I've got one idea, but I'm not convinced. Do you know what? I'm going to go for it. And I'm probably
Go for
wrong
it.
with the dates. Statue of Liberty?
No.
Oh,
I know.
it's not
I
bad.
think I know it.
So
I
did
think
you
I
say
know.
1970s?
It's been
Yeah.
around since the 1970s.
Oh, I
But
see. I knew it.
planning
Could I-
began in the 1940s.
Can I say
Tim,
that
be
it
quiet.
might? Okay.
No,
I know the
you
answer.
can't say
No.
anything. No,
Okay.
sorry.
I'll text you
Love
the
you
answer.
heaps, but you can't say anything anymore.
I'll text
I've
you the
written-
answer.
I've
Okay.
written 2 things down here, Tara, so we'll see how we go.
Awesome.
Am I right? I've
thank
just
you, Tara.
texted you the answer.
Don't look, Tara. Don't look. And she's looking.
That's
I'm
why.
right.
That's why he's not allowed to talk.
I've worked it out.
That's not fair.
No,
And he
I
had no
know
idea what it is.
Yeah, but
I
how
know
do
the
you
answer based-
know?
because it might have something to do with what I do for a living.
Ah, okay. And it's as old as we are. I still have no idea, but anyway.
No. Well, let's change gears and
Yeah.
talk about something a bit more exciting, something that we all know. Let's talk about Sydney Marathon. And so, what we're going to do tonight for our listeners, we're all going to give our top 10 tips for Sydney. Tony, I'm going to start with you.
Awesome. So for our listeners and viewers out there, just so everyone knows, Tim actually shared his 10 tips with us. So I think that once everyone's dissected that, I think we'll all end up with one tip each. So because Tim's taken quite a lot, right? So, but I was able to scratch through my memory and find some tips that people may find beneficial without repeating anything that Tim has said. So we'll see how we go. Hey, first up, my first tip is make sure you are following the Sydney Marathon social media, because I think that out of all the majors, they are one of the best for doing how-to videos, explainer videos, etc., etc. So first tip, follow the Sydney Marathon social media. Second tip, as I'll just bring Peter back on. All right. So second tip, and once again, this is going to be Sydney Marathon is the only marathon that we can have that we can call our local. So even though it's a local, it still means that I'm coming from Brisbane. I still have to fly down. I still have to stay in a hotel. So when I run Sydney, and I ran Sydney the last 2 years, I chose to stay at North Sydney, which was close to the start. Or many others chose to stay closer to the finish line in the inner city area. Now, the beauty with Sydney is that if you are a Sydney listener, that is awesome for you, because you can stay in your own bed and go through and run your own home major marathon. But my recommendation would be to stay somewhere close to either the start or the finish, because public transport in Sydney in those two areas are really quite easy. Thirdly, let's talk about the expo. I'm one that really enjoyed the expo being close to the city. I'm really interested to see how it goes out at Homebush this year. But probably the biggest tip is just prepare for your visit. It's not going to be as easy for those people that stay close to the start or finish just to pop in and out of the expo. I know many people did that multiple times over the last 2 years. I'm not a big one to say get in early, because I reckon that's half the reason why expos face challenges on day one, because everyone says get there early or things will be sold out. But no doubt there will be some sellouts. The jackets this year look amazing. They look incredible. So all I'm going to say is prepare for your visit, because you will have to take a train and a cut lunch from what I understand. So we'll see how we go. If you are staying in North Sydney, or if you are catching the train to North Sydney for the start, just bear in mind it's quite hilly. So the walk itself is quite hilly to the starting area. So just be prepared for that. It's not an easy, well, it's an easy walk, but the hills are really quite steep. So just make sure you're prepared for that. The course itself, let's talk a little bit about that. Once again, we've got an ambassador for Sydney Marathon, so I really can't be too critical because I don't want to tar our ambassador with the same brush. But the course itself is quite magical in areas. That running over the bridge along the waterfront, the finish line itself is the best in the world, in my eyes, coming into the Opera House. And as the great song says, the Opera House calling runners home. But, and there's a big but, Anzac Parade is probably one of the most boring stretches of a major marathon that you're ever going to run, right? And while the crowds increased from 24 to 25, and no doubt will do the same in 2026, be prepared that that's a long part of the course, right? Running out through Anzac Parade. There's a small little out and back there along the way just to prolong the pain a little bit, but just be prepared. It really is a challenging part of the course. I know Tim's going to talk about another challenging part of the course where it can be quite quiet, but hopefully the crowds will come out along Anzac Parade and you'll be all saying, oh, I don't know what Tony was talking about. The crowds were amazing. So Sydney people, it's all in your hands. Tip number 7, I think I'm at Tune Into Your Pace and Glory, Sydney 7 Star. It's one of the best motivational songs. It's got a fast pace, and it's just a song you need for whether your last couple of weeks of training, or why not play it out there on the course? I think it's going to be great. After the race and the finish line, all I can remember there is the tough walk up the hill. So hopefully it won't be raining, so you won't be sliding back down. But there is a hill that you've got to, all runners have to head back, or not all runners, but most runners will head back to go into the city. And just my last little tip, it's got nothing to do with Sydney Marathon itself, just people coming from international areas, from overseas. The biggest tip that I can ever give you when you come to Australia is we don't drink Fosters at all here in Australia. Do not touch Victoria Bitter. It is horrible. And the biggest tip is try Stone and Wood Pacific Ale or any of the Bolter beers. So that's my tips.
I think our listeners have definitely learned a thing or two on that. So thank you, Tony. I'm going to pass it over to Peter.
Okay. I'm going to start off my first 2 tips with something really important, which is shopping. Am I right? So the first thing is, if you're desperate to get your hands on some of that awesome Sydney merch, you don't have to wait till the expo. You can go to one of the big Rebel Sports stores, and they've already got the range there now. So if you arrive in Sydney, don't feel like you've got to do battle. You can go and shop in peace at Rebel, try everything on, and it's exactly the same price as it is at the expo.
And ASICS stores as well.
ASICS.
And
yeah, there
stores,
you go.
Yeah.
So we don't want any Tokyo style fighting and, pulling jackets and whatnot. There's just no need. For the runners, also to get your very important supplies. Surprisingly, even though Sydney CBD is very corporate, it's a lot of office buildings, there's quite a few small supermarkets like Woolies Metros and Coles Express. And you'll be able to go in and get everything you need there for snacks and drinks, and definitely get your bananas early. They will sell out. On to race day. It is cold in the morning, so I would recommend you bring something nice and warm that you're happy to donate to the start. Later on, though, it will get quite warm, so I would 100% recommend that you need sunscreen for your day. If you're not used to that sort of harsh Australian sun, it can really burn towards the end, especially if you're out there for nearly 7 hours like I am. So definitely pack a little sunscreen. Use the drop bag service at the expo. So remember, when you go to the expo, to take a warm top for afterwards, maybe a drink or a protein bar, some flip-flops, whatever you like to have. But after the race, you'll need to drop that in the dedicated bag at the expo. When you arrive at the race precinct, you probably want to get in the line for toilets. And for the boys, watch out for urinals. They will be there. It means you don't have to queue up if you can just go quickly. Once the race starts and you're on the course, everyone likes to take photos on the harbour bridge, and as you sort of get into the rocks area, if you're going to take selfies, that's great, but please pull to the side. Nothing worse than runners just pulling up in the middle of the road while everyone's trying to get around them. So please pull over. When you finish, there will be a post-event celebration set up in the Botanic Garden. So after you've got your medal and got your little snack bag with your apple and muesli bar, keep walking. You're going to have to anyway. And there'll be like a relaxation zone where you can just hang out and enjoy the day and celebrate your accomplishment. So, it's the type of marathon you don't necessarily want to rush off from. It's a really nice atmosphere just to enjoy. If you need to plan your journey to the start line or back from the race precinct, the Trip Planner app is live now with race day public transport times. So even if you need to be at the start line, I need to be there at 5 a.m. and there will be metro trains running. So Public Transport New South Wales is very aware there's a big event on, there's extra services, and it's all live in the Trip Planner now for New South Wales. My final tip is if you're going to a park run the day before, just check the event page and make sure that it's definitely on. Like North Sydney, for example, is usually cancelled. So just so you don't miss out on that great experience of doing a Sydney park run, make sure you just check their Facebook page is usually the best source, or the app, and that your event will actually be running. That's it from me.
Awesome. And just to add further about your transport tip, Peter, for race participants, public transport is included on the day. You just need to show your bib, whether you're getting the bus, metro or train. It's included, so you don't need to worry about tapping on or off. I'm going to hand over to Tara next for her tips.
Excellent. So some of mine are similar to Peter's, so I'll just skim through. I know it's a bit late now, but focus on hill training. There's some short, sharp, undulating hills on the course for the first 16 to 18 Ks and the last 4 to 5 Ks. So just be aware of that. If you haven't trained for them, don't be surprised. As Peter said, have a throwaway jumper. It's cold at the start, but it warms up after the first 3 to 4 kilometres. Catch the train to the start line. Don't arrive too early, though. You can't enter until your wave is called, so you'll be sitting out on the street like Tim and I were for a good hour and a bit if you get there too early, and there's no toilets out there. So just be aware, don't get there before you wave, don't get there too early before you wave. There is very long toilet queues, as Peter said, and I'd highly recommend taking a little packet of tissues or something like that if you're in one of the later corrals, because you will not have toilet paper by the time you go. Once you're on the course, take selfies as you run over the bridges. Peter said it's not often open to foot traffic and it is extremely enjoyable. It's actually a lot longer than you think you're on the bridge as well, so soak it up and enjoy that atmosphere. This is a bit of a contentious one because not everyone likes Centennial Park, but it is a nice break from the heat because there is some shade there. So if it is a hot day, you're going to enjoy that shade from Centennial Park. Enjoy the downhill to the finish. You're going to climb up a awful hill before you get to it, but once you get to the last 2 kilometres or so, I think it is, it's all downhill, and it's an amazing downhill. Like it is, I was at 5:20 pace for my last kilometre on Sydney Marathon, so it is a great downhill finish. And when you are turning the corner, don't forget to look up and you'll see the bridge and the Opera House, and it is an amazing sight, so don't forget to look up. The finish line is really, really crowded, so it's a very tight, packed area that the finish line's in. Keep moving, don't just stop. Yeah, I know you want to take photos of the Opera House and the bridge and stuff like that. You'll get your chances, go through the finish line, get your medal. Then after you've got your medal, there's space there for you to get photos with the Opera House and your medal, so do that afterwards. Don't do it in that finish line area. And my number 10 tip is go out after the marathon for the night. Go back to your hotel, get some food along the way, shower, stretch, rest for a while before hitting the town, because there are some fantastic after parties in the harbour area, and the city really celebrates the marathon. So there'll be lots of people out there wearing their medals and celebrating.
Hey, Luch,
Yes.
the start area changed last year because, and I found it interesting, and picking up on Tara's comments that you're not allowed in until your corral is caught. It didn't seem to have that in 2024 edition, and I know that you had all the world age champs coming out of North Sydney Oval itself. This year, 2025 was a totally different starting experience to what we actually thought the starting experience in 2024 was quite relaxed and what have you, and they shifted. Obviously, some logistics changed. And it was really weird sitting outside your corrals with no access to loos or anything, waiting for some guy at the gate to say you can come in now. And then it seemed to be rushed when we were inside there. So interesting.
See, I can't comment too much because last year I was pacing, so we didn't have to wait in the area with everyone else. We were lucky we got to wait in North Sydney Oval. So, but when I did it in 24, it was very relaxed. Whereas, I couldn't feel the difference just because my experience was different.
Yeah.
And this year it's going to be different again because I'll be in hospitality before I start.
Nice.
Okay.
No, I'm not going to be drinking first thing in the morning, Tim.
Yeah.
But you'll have private toilets.
Exactly.
Isn't it hospitality? Drinking and eating?
I don't know if they're going to have booze like at 6 o'clock in the morning. We'll see. I will report.
Donuts?
I will have one of those if it's there. Now, Tim, I'm going to hand over to you for your tips.
All right. So mine have been covered, a lot of them, but I'll go through them anyway and provide a little bit more info behind them. So I say get to the expo early. It doesn't mean you have to be there on day one, but what I mean by that is get there early in the time in the day that you're going, whether it's the Friday or the Saturday. Get there early and give yourself plenty of time. These expos are not like a normal race expo. They are big. They are huge. They've got a lot of interactions happening. And at this one being out at the Olympic Park, I'm presuming that there will be a lot more space around for them to have interactive displays and all sorts of other things. So, you're going to need at least 2 or 3 hours to be able to go around and see everything in the expo and have a look at it properly. That's a lot of time on your feet. So get there early, give yourself some time to get through it all so that when you get home or you get back afterwards, you've got time to rest and recover without feeling so rushed. So give yourself some time, get there earlier if you can, and just enjoy the expo for what it is, because it is quite a unique. It is Australia's biggest race expo. It is up there with some of the other major marathons, and you'll see stuff there that you don't see at any other race expo. Maybe this year they may be so. So that was the first one. Yeah. So that was my first tip, get to the expo early. The second one is follow all directions on race morning about getting to North Sydney at the time required. So as sort of Tara said, you won't be allowed into the actual race precinct or the early area until your time is called up. Now, they signpost it, they put it out on their social media, what time the gates will be there, what time you need to be there. If you're being told to be there at 7:30, be there at 7:30. Don't arrive at 6 or 6:30 thinking you'll be able to get into the corrals or into the pre-race area. You just won't be allowed in. So please give yourself time. The other thing is make sure you go to the right part of North Sydney Oval, because there are 3 different starting waves, essentially, and they start in different parts of the park. They all start in the same spot, but they all corral in different parts of the park. So if you go to the one in the northwest corner, but you're actually starting on the corral that starts around to the east somewhere, it is actually quite difficult with all the road closures and people everywhere to be able to get to the part you need to get to. So understand which gate you need to enter into and which is the best public transport option to get you to that part of North Sydney Oval. Because we saw that last year. We were waiting outside and all of a sudden somebody would say, oh, I'm the green entry. And all of a sudden they go, oh, you've got to walk all the way around the block here. You've got to go all the way down there and then come in from that side to be able to get in there. So recognise that there are different entry points into the race area, the precinct, and recognise the transport is different for each of those. Now, you'll start at the same start line. You cross over the start line at the same spot, but it is a downhill start, but it's not a noisy start. And I think from memory, when we ran through the start last year, apart from the old guy, the guy on the microphone, giving a bit of a commentary what was going on, for the first kilometre or two, there wasn't a lot of people on the sideline. There wasn't a lot of cheering. It was actually quite quiet. North Sydney is a central business district. There isn't a lot of people that live in that area. It is all office spaces in that area, so there aren't big crowds. So be prepared to go, okay, there's not going to be many people here at the beginning. It's a good time for you to enjoy the downhill, get the body moving, get the body warmed up, get over the Sydney Opera House, which is only 3 Ks into the run. And then from there, the crowds start to build up as you come down off the harbour bridge, off the freeways, and down into that, what is it, that Piramara area and Darling Harbour area. Piedmont area, that's the one. I don't know Sydney. So that's the first, that one. The next thing is toilets. On course, there aren't a lot of toilets in those first few kilometres because you're running on freeways, because it's a CBD area. There aren't a lot of toilets in the first 5 Ks, and I think it might even be a little bit past 5 Ks before your first toilet comes on. So if you're somebody who has that nervous wee that needs to go within the first kilometre or two, you are probably going to have to hold it, because last year there weren't a lot of toilets, and then when we got the first lot of toilets, which is around that 5 K mark, everyone went to those toilets, and it was a bit of a delay at that point. So just be mindful. There are toilets in the first few kilometres. But when they do, there's plenty through the rest of the course. It's just that first 5 Ks or so. Hills, yes, everyone's talked about the hills. There isn't much in the way of flat areas for the first 18 kilometres. The first 18 kilometres is up and down. No hill in its own right is really difficult. They're all hills, but they're not over the top steep and challenging and horrible and nasty. They're all runnable, but it's the cumulative effect of all those hills, one after the other, going up and down for 18 kilometres. It does wear you out. So just be mindful of it, not to go too heavy too quickly on the first few hills, thinking that you'll get up and hit them hard and you'll be right. They'll just keep coming at you. And, there's a couple there. One up from St. Mary's Church up towards Oxford Street is probably, a kilometre or a kilometre and a half of just straight uphill. It's a steady incline. It is runnable, but it will wear you out, and that's about 14 Ks into the race. So yeah, just be mindful of those hills, because people talk about them, but until you've run them, you don't really fully appreciate what they're like. I think it was you, Peter, who talked about don't worry about the sun. The sun is hot, and it's going to be different. So be mindful of that and dress for the conditions. Okay, just because it's cool in the morning doesn't mean it's going to be cool all day during the run. Dress for what it's going to be like in mid-morning to mid-afternoon, and you'll get a feel for that in the day or two beforehand. If you're out somewhere from about 9 o'clock in the morning through to 3 o'clock in the afternoon, dress for that sort of temperature that you're going to be running in. Don't dress for the temperature at 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so you should be able to run it quite comfortably in a singlet and shorts. Yes, it will be cold at the beginning, but singlet or shorts or a T-shirt and shorts is probably all you need. You don't need big, heavy jumpers or big, heavy cold weather gear to run in Sydney. Having said that, it'll probably no doubt be the coldest August 28th ever held in Australia. But at this stage, the last few years, it's actually been quite warm at that time. So be mindful of that. Wear your sunscreen, as Peter said. I don't know, I've said it many times, but when I run overseas, I see so many people overseas don't wear hats. Wear a hat in Australia. If you're used to it, wear a hat, bring a hat, put your sunscreen on. It is a very different sun that we have here in Australia than what you have in Europe or in North America. It is harsh, it will burn you, and it will hurt you in the days afterwards. And it will also sap a lot of moisture from your body that you need to preserve whilst you're running. So please wear your hats, wear your sunscreen, take your water at the water stops as well. Centennial Park is at about 30 kilometres, 31 kilometres into the run. It's about 5 Ks, Lucia, I think, to run around Centennial Park. It's a loop.
If you do just the loop, it's about 3.7, but from the point in which you start to enter into the park until you get out, it will be about 5 Ks all up.
Yeah, it is about 5 Ks. It is a quiet section of the course. There's not a lot of crowds in that section. But as you said earlier on, there are trees. It's very shady. Nice. It's actually quite quiet. It's nice to get away from some of that noise, but it can also be a bit of a mind drain going through there as well. So just know that it's only 5 Ks. You come out of it at about 36 Ks, and then from there you're not far to the top of Oxford Street, and then from there it's a nice, steady, beautiful run down towards Mrs. Macquarie's chair. So getting down to Mrs. Macquarie's Chair is wonderful. It's great. It's a long couple of kilometres of just steady downhill all the way to Mrs. Macquarie's Chair. But the hill coming up from Mrs. Macquarie's Chair at 39 to 40 kilometres is an absolute bitch of a hill. There is nothing good about that hill. It is steep. It is tough. It is a challenge, and it is the steepest section on the entire course. It's okay to walk it at that point, but just be mindful once you get to the top there, it is a fun run for the final 1.5 kilometres down Macquarie Street, where you'll see glimpses of the Opera House starting to open in front of you. You'll see the Blue Harbour, and then just as you get to the bottom of Macquarie Street, you'll look to your left, you'll see the Harbour Bridge. It is just stunning. And the second last bit of advice is just enjoy the race. It's maybe your first time here in Australia or your first ever marathon. Just enjoy it. Don't put pressure on yourself. Don't get frustrated by the crowds. Don't get overwhelmed by the hills. Just enjoy it. Run with a smile. Talk to the pacers. Talk to the people that are around you from all the different countries. Count the different shirts you see from people in different countries. You'll see countries like Japan. You'll see China. You'll see USA, Canada, UK, London. You'll see people from all around the world running in their shirts and their nationalities from their countries. So take it all in, enjoy yourself. It is a very unique thing to be able to do that, and then do that as well. Now, whilst you're in Sydney, there's many things you can do, but the best thing you can do when you're in Sydney is to get on an aeroplane and fly to Queensland, because we've got it all in Queensland, right? So don't stick around Sydney, go to Queensland. It's beautiful one day and perfect the next. But if you do, unfortunately, have to stay in Sydney, then there's other things like, I don't know, something called a harbour bridge. I don't know, something like that. There's Bondi, there's Manly to go to on a ferry. There's the zoo out there, Taronga Zoo out there at Manly or towards Manly as well. If you've got access to a spare day or two, the Blue Mountains are absolutely stunning. And again, you can catch a train from the CBD in Sydney right up into Katoomba, which is the heart of the Blue Mountains, and you can go there. But even if you're just in Sydney for a day or two, just hang around Circular Quay where the ferries come and go to the Opera House, go to the Rocks, which is the oldest part of Sydney. It's all there at on the waterfront. It is stunning. It's the best bit of Sydney. Everything else outside of the harbour is shit, but the best bit around Sydney is the actual harbour. So anyway, that's my tips. I've probably offended every Sydney person, but anyway, I'm a Queenslander and proud of it.
Anyway, I'm not going to acknowledge those last couple of tips, but some of them were okay. I'm just going to add just a couple. I'm just going to add just a couple more. Now, for those travelling to the expo on using public transport, the trains, there are going to be direct trains from Central Station out to Olympic Park. But as Peter said, use Trip Planner. There's going to be a lot of social media saying how to get there. They do an amazing job with the videos. Now, for those, for our listeners that are going to the expo Friday morning, I'll actually be at the expo Friday morning volunteering at Bib Pickup. So myself and some of the other ambassadors will be there Friday morning. So if any of our listeners are there, if you see me, say hi. Now, don't forget at the expo, it's already been mentioned about doing bag drop-off, but what's also important to note, that's where you pick up your finisher T-shirt. The finisher T-shirt is not given out after the race. You have to pick it up at the expo. Please do not forget that. Also, on Friday night is the opening ceremony. So similar as to what they did last year, they'll be doing a welcoming the elites and also the Aussie elites. I'm very fortunate I'll be there Friday night. So if you see me there, give me a holler. I will be dressed up, so you may not recognise me because I'll be in non-running clothes for a change. And what's been mentioned before is the first part of the course, it's downhill. Do not sprint it. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. The amount of times last year I saw people sprinting down, it made me laugh. So just take it nice and easy. Check the socials because there's going to be a lot of shakeout runs. People are going to be posting about shakeout runs. So make sure you check that out. But what I think is really important and what not a lot of people do, I know we all do it, thank the volunteers because they're out there longer than we are. They're there earlier than we are. They're giving up their time to make sure we have a good day. So it just takes a couple of seconds just to thank them because they're doing a great job. So don't forget to thank the volunteers, guys. So I think that's hopefully our listeners have gotten some tips on how to make Sydney a great race day because we do have what no other city in Australia has. We have a major. no other city in Australia does. That's to Tim.
Yeah, but we've got a million other things that are better, so you can have one thing.
I think we could have a separate episode on that. We'll save that for another day. Now, guys, it's been an awesome chat. Now, Tara, what's your last clue for your trivia?
Awesome. Thanks, Lucia. I'll try not to offend everybody like Tim just has, because, yeah, Brisbane's great, but, you know, there is other good places around. So this icon has a very distinct shape. It is world famous and has been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2007. You will find it at the end of a major marathon.
Do you want me to say it?
I think
it's
Tony
the
might.
opera. Yeah, it's the Opera House.
Oh, I think
Isn't it?
It is the Opera House.
Ah, good one.
I thought I'd keep
Well
in
played.
theme tonight.
Yeah, nice.
well played. Well, thank you very much for that, Tara. Now it's time for Peter to give us her tip of the week.
New to the start, lamb strong from the heart. Peter's got wisdom guiding every part. Flying RuNR, rising up fast. Tips that stick, lessons that last. Every step forward, confidence grows. Join the journey, let's how it goes.
Of the week. Peter, what's your tip for the week?
Well, I'm also teaming with the theme this week, and I thought it would be great to give the listeners some ideas about what you can do in Sydney for free. That's great, because you're already spending a lot of money, I'm sure, just running this marathon. But there are heaps of great things you can do that will cost you $0. So those botanic gardens that you're finishing in as you walk out, you can go in them anytime during daylight hours, free of charge. There's lots to see there and some beautiful harbourside footpaths. It's a great spot for photos. You can also walk around the Opera House forecourt. You might even get lucky and see Sammy the Seal there. But another great spot for photos with the harbour. Yeah.
It's Benny the Seal.
Oh, is it Benny? Sorry.
Benny.
Same, but different. It's another great spot to see the Harbour Bridge and get some medal pics on Monday. If you're into culture, you can visit the Art Gallery of New South Wales or the Museum of Contemporary Art for free. You can also, if you go to Bondi or Manly, like Tim mentioned, you can do the walks. There's some really nice foreshore trails from Bondi to Coogee or Manly along the scenic walkway. Absolutely stunning. You can also go around the other side of the rocks and see the Barangaroo Reserve, which is a beautiful pathway that goes all the way to Darling Harbour, and lots of nice little spots for a swim if you're up for it. The Australian Museum is also free. You can visit the Anzac Memorial in Hyde Park, the State Library of New South Wales, also on Macquarie Street. That's absolutely beautiful. And Sydney has some fantastic shopping and food areas. So if you're staying around the city, I definitely recommend you visit the Rocks. There's some great pubs and touristy type shops. The Queen Victoria building, you can get there on the light rail. It's absolutely beautiful. Sydney has a fantastic Chinatown. I always stay near there because there's lots of great restaurants and shops to go and eat at. And Darling Harbour as well is another great shopping area with a huge food court, all very easy to get to around the CBD. And that's my tip this week, free stuff.
Excellent.
Just
Thank you, Pete.
one thing, Peter. Sorry.
Yeah.
Just to when you're doing those ocean walks over at Bondi or over at Manly, just keep an eye out on the water. You may see some humpback whales jumping around as well, which are quite common at this time of year. So another tip.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Now, this episode's about to end, but before we do, what's going to happen next week, Tony? Because I think it's going to be interesting for the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, the next couple of weeks are going to be very interesting because Tim and Tara will not be on the show. So unless they're going to be calling in from Marathon Medoc. So, but next week we are tackling one of the biggest debates in running. And do your shoes really matter? And we've all heard stories about super shoes, carbon plates, max cushioning, minimalist designs, and the endless marketing claims that there are that surround all of those terms. And sometimes it's very difficult to separate fact from fiction. Can a shoe actually make you faster? Do certain shoes reduce your injury risk? How much of your running success comes down to what's on your feet compared to the training you put in? Spoiler alert. No, I won't. Sorry. We'll share our experiences with different brands and shoe types, discuss the science behind modern running footwear, and explore whether runners really need multiple pairs of shoes. As you can see, my rack there in the background. Multiple pairs of shoes. I retired a pair on the weekend. It was quite sad. I ran Chicago in them. So I thought 2023, they're getting a little bit old. So, so whether you're a first-time park runner wondering what to buy, or an experienced marathoner trying to justify your latest shoe purchase to your partner, this episode will help you understand what really matters, what doesn't, and how to choose the right shoe for your running goals. As we keep saying, we're the only podcast with 5 7-star world major marathoners, and as usual, it's going to be a cracker of an episode, and we don't want you to miss it. Back to you, Luch.
Thank you, Tony. Well, guys, that's a wrap for another episode of the Flying RuNR podcast. Now, just before we wind things up, we just want to wish Team Ellis an awesome time in Europe over the next couple of weeks as they take part in the Marathon de Medoc. We can't wait for all the stories in which we're going to see on the socials and the celebrations, of course. Now, if any of our listeners do want to follow along, you can search Team Ellis on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, because no doubt Tim's going to be posting all the fun stuff as he does, and we're looking forward to hearing. Hopefully Tara's stomach goes well on race day, keeping everything crossed for you, Tara. So I just want to say a huge thank you to my co-host for another great discussion tonight, and to all of you for joining us, whether you listen to us on your run, walk, drive, or even when you're watching us. We truly appreciate being part of your running journey, and can't wait to do it all again with you next week. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to us by Instagram, Facebook, or email us at happyrunning@flyingrunner.com. Whether you've got a question, or if you want us to talk about a certain topic, or a story from your own running adventures, we'd love to share in your journey. You can watch this episode on Spotify. You can listen to this episode on Spotify, Apple, and all other major platforms, and watch us on YouTube, because we know we do have a fair few watchers which watch us on YouTube. So guys, this ends another great episode. It's been great catching up with you all again. I hope you have a fantastic week ahead, and for Team Ellis, a great holiday. Just remember, every step counts. Keep running, and we'll see you next time on the Flying RuNR podcast. Happy running.
Happy running.
Happy running.
They said we'd wait, they said one day, but we kept running anyway. Built it strong, built it fair.